So now that we've done our slope-intercept equations of a line, we're going to do what's called standard equation or standard form. And it'll look something like this: ax plus by equals c. So this is my ax plus by equals c. That's what the equation is, but we'll have numbers where a, b, and c are. So in order to change this, so this is our standard form. In order to graph it, we cannot graph it like this. We have to have it in our y equals mx plus b form. So there are two steps. So first is to add or subtract. Let's go ahead and erase this. Add or subtract the x. So since this is positive, we're going to think back to our beginning algebra, and we're going to subtract the 11x. Now, since this 10 does not have an x in it, I cannot combine them. They do not have the same last name. They do not belong to the same family. So all I can do is write them next to each other. Whatever you do, do not combine them, because that will get you all messed up. So you just kind of put it next to it, basically. And then step 2 is to divide by the coefficient with y. So the coefficient with y is -5. So we divide each of these by -5. So we will have y equals -11x divided by -5 will give us 11 over 5x, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 11 over 5 does not reduce. Then we have -10 divided by -5. If we put that into our calculator, we would get +2. So this is what it would be in our slope-intercept form. So from standard to slope-intercept. So let's go ahead and look at. Okay, so step 1, we're going to move that x. So if it's +3x, I'm going to subtract 3x. So I'm left with 4y equals -3x plus 8. Do not combine them. Put them next to each other. Then my next step is to divide by the coefficient with y. So this is going to be y equals -3 over 4, because we cannot reduce that anymore. And then 8 divided by 4 will give us +2. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 15x on both sides. So then we're left with 8y equals -15x plus 56. Divide by 8 on both sides. So both of these pieces have to be divided by 8. So we're going to get y equals -15 over 8 cannot be simplified. And then 56 divided by 8. So you may think back to this. And you may need to use your calculator, which is totally okay, which will give you 7. But when you see something big like this, go ahead, just plug it into your calculator. So that's our answer there. I'm going to erase this just to give myself a little more room. So subtract that 9x on both sides. This will cancel, leaving us with just 5y equals 9x and 35. We cannot combine them. Put them next to each other. I'm going to keep saying that over and over, because that's a mistake I see commonly when it comes to doing these types of problems. So divide by 5 on both sides. So we have y equals -9 over 5 does not reduce anymore. And then 35 over 5 will give you 7. So 2 steps. There are 2 steps to convert from standard form into slope-intercept form. So go ahead and try these next ones on your own. first step. Subtract that x on both sides. So we have negative y equals, do not combine these two things, so negative 3x plus 3. And then we need to divide by the number with y. So this one might be a little tricky. Remember, there's an invisible 1 here, so we're dividing by negative 1. So it becomes y equals negative 3 over negative 1 becomes 3 over 1. And we want to leave it as a fraction just because it makes it easier when we graph. And this becomes negative 3. So subtract that 10x. Again, this should become pretty monotonous. We're doing the same thing every time, but that means it's going to be easy peasy when we get to that test. And divide by 3. So y equals negative 10 over 3x plus 2 over 3. Last one, so negative 5x on both sides becomes y equals negative 5x plus 7. And we're done here. There's nothing really with y. It's by itself, so we can leave it like this. All right, and that's the end of this lesson.